You matter. You matter. Till the day that you die, you will matter. And I hope you can see that you're worth being free, 'cause you matter.
My name is Charissa Schalk, and today we're looking at the subject of our needs and wants from a biblical perspective through the lens of my leveraged relationship model. The Apostle James wrote that most of the strife between individuals comes from unfulfilled desires. Even if we don't have a lot of interpersonal strife in our lives, most of us have plenty of intrapersonal strife, otherwise known as stress. And if we want to sort out the strife or the stress, we must acknowledge the desires that aren't being fulfilled and distinguish between our genuine needs and our non-essential or even harmful wants. The list of things we want will be endless, and that list often includes an inappropriate desire to meet the needs of others. I'll come back to this in a minute, but for now, just notice that meeting the needs of others is often only a want and can be inappropriate and even harmful. We'll never cease wanting something we don't currently have or can't currently do. These wants have the potential to create a lot of stress and strife, but they aren't the only category of stressors. There are also things we genuinely deeply need, but don't yet have power to acquire. I've discovered a really long list of things I need to flourish, and most of them I don't yet have the power to acquire. This group is a huge stressor. All human beings need to love and be loved, for instance, and to be significant to others. But what if we don't have that power yet? We all need sleep, but what if we suffer from insomnia? We all need a physiologically safe place to live, but what if we can't afford such a place? These are just a few examples of genuine needs we can't assume will be met. I used to hold to the model that God always gives us what we need, and then I tried to shrug off my lack with, I guess I must not need this or that since God hasn't given it to me. Unfortunately, that is both stressful and unbiblical. This method reduces the definition of needs to what is required for bare survival, and then calls things like significance, sleep, and safety wants rather than needs. But they are needs because when we experience lack in these areas, we get weird, dangerous to ourselves or others, physically or mentally ill, or we simply fail to live productively. In short, if we don't have what we genuinely need, we get into that strife or stress state James wrote about, every bit as much as if we get caught up in chasing non-essential wants. The two may be related, though. Focusing on non-essential wants while ignoring essential needs is often at the core of our poverty. If we're living perpetually in a state of lack, it could be because we've been convinced in early childhood that honoring or focusing on our own needs is bad and selfish. This belief is frequently linked to focusing on and or meeting the needs of others. Our world perspective gets badly skewed when, as children, we are expected to ignore or minimize our own needs and focus on the needs or comfort or convenience of others. One of the many things I love about my leveraged relationship model is that it distinguishes very clearly between the obligations of the two parties in any given relationship. Let's use the example here of a mother and child. It is a problem when the mother focuses on her own needs and ignores the needs of the child. But it is equally problematic when the child ignores its own needs to focus on the needs of its mother. The power position in any relationship, in this case it's the mother, is obligated to attend to the needs of the vulnerable position in the relationship, in this case the child, without harming itself. The vulnerable position, on the other hand, is obligated to attend to its own needs without harming others. I hope you can grasp that distinction. Proverbs says that he who gives to the rich and he who steals from the poor will both come to lack. Most Christians are quick to agree that stealing from the poor is an evil thing, but we've made giving into a universal virtue, and it is not. When the vulnerable position in any relationship gives to the power position, it results in deep personal poverty for the giver. It doesn't matter what form the giving takes either. It can be in the form of time, attention, and energy, or it can take a material form. In any case, when the vulnerable position gives anything more than a tithe or a token of appreciation to the power position, that giver experiences poverty. If you were brought up in a toxic Christian model of giving, as I was, it can be very, very hard to turn the tide. But it is necessary to change your ways so you can begin to enjoy prosperity. A breakthrough moment for me came a number of years ago when I felt that I was on my own side in a conflict regarding needs and wants. It was such a peaceful feeling. Until then, I hadn't even been aware that I had always taken the side of the other party when there was a conflict. Now that is what you call self-defeating. If that sounds familiar to you, see if you can imagine one part of yourself as an arbitrator sitting at the head of the table while a little orphan and an opposing party sit on either side of you. We don't need to make that opposing party into a bad guy. That's not the point here. What we're focusing on is the little orphan. That orphan is your needs, and the arbitrator, your rational adult self, is the only one in the world with the power to care for and protect the orphan. You may object to my assertion that you are the only one in the world with that power, but if you don't ensure that your needs have as big of a voice in your own mind as that opposing party does, your needs will never be met. Can never be met, because you will always be giving to others what you need for yourself. I don't know what you personally need, but I do know that you cannot be happy if you don't learn to distinguish between what is essential for you and what is not. You will always be a slave until you have learned to habitually prioritize your own well-being. Until we meet again, I encourage you, as always, to take good care of yourself. Only you can do so, and you are worth it.